Alrighty, this is gonna be a quick video on how to make the everything cube. This is just a simple demo object that gives you all the basic tools you need to make anything in SolidWorks. Everything is from bosses, revolutes, to lofts, simple hole wizard, everything. And then using those tools, you can then go and make whatever you want. All right, we're gonna start by, you'll either have a dialog pop up if you haven't opened up any documents, or you can go up to this icon up here and click on new. And then make sure you click on part, Y up. Actually, let me do this. So you want part and just hit OK. So by default, we gotta make sure our document is in the right units. That is the first thing you should always do. And that is down here in the corner. So we're in IPS, inch pound second. I want to be in metric, so I click on it, and mmgs, millimeter grams second. That'll make everything so much more smoother. So now that we got that, let's just take a look around and see what we got. So up here, these are going to be all of our features, and I have a lot more tabs open on my. You might have less, you might have more, but the main two that you will be working with is the features and the sketch tab. Over on the right here, this is going to be your feature tree as well as your timeline of all of the features that you do. Over on the right, this is the design library. You don't truly need to worry about this at the beginner stage, but it is good to note that it has things like the toolbox where you can pull in nuts, bolts, hardware, whatever you need. All right. So, and then the basis on how sketches work in 3D modeling and CAD works is we're going to start with a 2D object and then pull it into 3D. So we're going to go ahead to our sketch tab, click on the sketch icon, and it shows us 3 planes, the top plane, right plane, and front. I'm going to choose the front plane, and this gives us our origin. We always want to make sure that our object is on our origin, just so that it's easy to get to, easy to refer back to. It is our center point of the entire model. So, because we're making a cube, we need to start with the base, a cube. So, this is the technical drawing that it is made from. So, if we look, 30 millimeters, this is in millimeters, is the height and width of our cube. So that is what we're going to go with. So now to make a cube, we got to start with a square or a rectangle. There's a few different variations. You can kind of hover over it, or you can kind of infer how it does. So we always want to do the center rectangle. It's the easiest one to define. So I'm going to hover over the origin, and you'll see an orange dot appear, or it'll be some colored dot. We're going to click, drag it out, click again. Now, I have no idea if this is a square, but it is what looks like a square. So I'm going to hit the check mark here, click on Smart Dimension, and this is how we're going to tell everything how big it is. So you can actually see from the little animation there, it is going to let us define things. So we're going to click on the side. You can see it's a really long, weird number. So we're going to make it 30 and then hit enter. All right, now it's 30, and we'll do just the same to the other side. And now that it's in all black lines, you can see now this square of the sketch is fully defined, which is good. You always want to fully define your sketch so that you have all the dimensions. Alrighty. Now that we have the square defined, now we got to pull it into 3D. So we're going to go up here. You can hit exit sketch. That'll work. That's fine. However, it is easiest when you have the sketch selected, which you do if you're in the sketch tab editing it. You can go to features, and the main one you'll end up using is this extruded boss and base. So I'm going to click on it. you'll see, pulls us into 3D here. And to rotate around it, I'm actually using my middle mouse click. So that will let us rotate. And then if I hold shift and middle mouse click, I can zoom in and out, or just use the scroll wheel. So as the simple movement that you should learn, easy peasy. So I want it to be a cube. So I'm going to make this be 30 millimeters. So we have a few different options here. So we're only going to do one. We're actually going to do two directions so that our center origin is the exact center of the cube. So we will make this be, we're going to hit the equal sign, 30 divided by 2. Now, objectively, that is a very simple mathematical equation. It's 15. However, this shows you that you can do equations and mathematics inside the dimensions. And when we hit enter, you'll see it's now defined as that. And you can see it's got a little bit bigger. But we know that 30 divided by 2 is 15. But if you needed something that was like really weird sized, you can do it there as well. If you click on direction 2, and we do the same thing, equal 30 divided by 2. Now we have a square, or a cube. We can hit the check mark, and you'll now notice we have a 3D object. All right, now that we have our 3D object, the next feature that I'm going to do is the corner radii. So you'll notice on this, there are small little radii on the corners, and they're not sharp. So we want to make those nice and smooth. To do that, we need to first figure out, if you turn this a bunch, we have no idea what up is. So you can go up to this button up here. These are all your view tools. So these will give you pan, rotates, if you don't want to use the mouse controls. But if we click on view orientation, it gives this bubble cube, and you can kind of see if we rotate it around, it's just kind of going in and out of the views. So we are going to click on this top face right here, and this is now going to define our top. However, you'll see if we hover over any of the planes, we are actually on the front plane here. So I want to be on the top plane. So if you hover over this is the top plane. I want to be able to see the top plane. I can see the front plane, but I can't see the top plane. I can see the side profile of it, but I can't actually view the plane. So looks like I'm going to need to rotate either left or right. So if I click on this, rotate a little bit over here, and then click on this, I now should be on the top plane. And you'll notice you'll always be on the top plane if this text is correct, or correctly orientated. If it's mirrored, you're on the technically backside. But now that I'm viewing the top, I know I have a reference point, and I can kind of push it into 3D, and I know this is my top. This is either the front or the back, and this is either the right or the left. So for now, I'm going to assume this is the front, and that's what I'll be working with from now on. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the Features tab so we can add those radii. The command is called Fillet. So if you click on Fillet, you can kind of see, if you hover over any feature in SolidWorks, it'll kind of show you how it's done. So we click on Fillet, and I want to click on the edge here. And I clicked on the face. So if you accidentally click on the wrong thing, it will show up here, and you can right click and delete. And then make sure you click again in here so it looks like you're selecting something, even though there's nothing there. And I'm going to select the edge. Just like that. Then the edge, then the edge. Now, I can't visually see this edge in the back. However, if you notice, when I hover over it, a line appears and it shows up there. So now you can kind of see the shape it's going to make. If you cannot see this, change your preview to full preview. That'll show you what the actual shape is going to be. And this looks like it's too large. So I'm going to check my document real quick. And it looks like it is a radius of 5. So I'm going to change this to a 5, not 53. 5. Then just hit the check mark. And there we are. So now that I have the rounded bits, you'll notice that the top and the bottom have this little angle here. That's called a chamfer. So I'm on a chamfer on the edges. So it'll be where you found the fillet tool in the features tab. You click on that, go down to chamfer, and then we can click on the top, or here, let's do the bottom one first. Do the bottom. And you'll actually notice it's not clicking up the whole thing. So there is actually 8 different lines that we have to make sure we choose. So make sure you choose all the lines you need. Now that we got that, we want to check the sizing of it real quick. And it looks like it is 2.5. So I'm going to make this distance 2.5. And then it said it was 45 degrees. So that is the angle from this face down to this face is a 45-degree angle. That's typically the only chamfer you'll see unless you're doing injection molding. And those have what's called a draft angle. It's an angle that goes outwards. So it would be like negative 10 degrees. But we'll click on the top. And you'll actually see we didn't have to choose all of them. The SolidWorks was able to grab all 8 of the edges. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you don't need to. Sometimes there is points where you have to choose all of them. So with that, I'm going to hit OK. And now I have a chamfered rounded cube. So now we got to add all the features. So the easiest one to add is going to be this hole. We're going to ignore the call out for now, and I'll just make it an M5 counterboard hole, which we can define with the hole wizard. So I've still defined this as my top, so that's where it's going to be. So I need to first find the center of that hole. And that I do know that that hole is centered as per the drawing. It's got little center marks. There should be dimensions telling you where this is. However, there is not on this one in this case, but it is centered to the cube. So let's do that. I'm going to click on the top face, and rather than choosing the plane to make a sketch, we're going to make the sketch on that face. So we go to sketch after selecting, then just hit sketch. It'll auto turn, and this is going to be what we're making our thing on. So because it's on the origin, it is actually really easy to snap things to the direct center. That is why we make things from the center outwards. However, if you didn't have it on the center, what you can do is while it's still selected and it's blue, you can go to this button and click Convert Entities. What that's going to do is you notice you have a little shape now of an outline of the actual face. And because it's a radii, it actually gives you the center point of where that circle would be if this was a full circle. So because of that, because we have 4 circles on either side, we can find the center point. So what we're going to do is go up here, go to our line tool, click the drop down, and click on center line. Center lines are nice because these are your non-dimensional lines. They are construction lines. So with that in mind, I can click right here, go all the way down here, And if I hit escape to deselect the tool, that is a universal button, you'll notice this is a different line type. So this line type just indicates in SolidWorks that it is not something that has geometry. Even in no matter what the shape is, this has no geometry that you can pull into 3D. So what I'm going to do is make another center line from the two other points here, and you'll actually notice I missed. So if you ever do that, if you're in the middle of the line or you click somewhere, you can hit escape and then Control Z. So let's do that again. I'll wait until it snaps. Now that I'm on it, go up here, go to there, hit escape. And now the cross-section, intersection point where these two meet, that will be the center of those two lines. And it just so happens to be the origin. So I actually only need those two defined for the whole wizard. So I'm actually going to hit exit sketch this time because we are going to make a 3D feature. And then I can just click out here in the white space real quick to deselect it. So I'm going to go to my features tab now. I'm going to go to whole wizard. And now you'll see this has a lot of info on it. So this is the main thing, is your hole type, what standard it is, and then your hole size. So I want a counter bore that'll make a little step for the bolt head to sit in. You can also make chamfers. Those are typically like your wood projects, bars, taps, all sorts of different things. I keep it in metric, and I want an M5. So that's actually got all the options I want. And then you can also define your end condition. So I want this hole to go all the way through the part. If I didn't, I can click on this drop down and go to blind, and I can determine the depth of the hole, but I want it to go through the whole thing. So with all of my settings there, I'm going to click on positions and then go click existing 2D sketch because we've already developed a sketch here. So existing 2D sketch. Then I'm going to click this sketch. It'll highlight the whole thing. And you notice it's made a few of them. I want to make sure that I click on the one I want first is this one in the center. So I'll do that. And I'll deselect this box. So now it's only going to do it where I choose. So I've got that. Don't worry about this one. As long as the one that you clicked on and is where you want it, that's fine. This is just a preview. Then we can go hit our check mark. And you'll notice there's a through hole. And if I pull this up a little bit, now there's a counter bore. So that is the whole wizard. Then next, out of the hole, I'm going to make the circle of tiny squares. So that's going to be on the front face. So I'm going to click on the face, go up to sketch, go to sketch tab, and it flipped it around. That's okay. And I'm going to click on the face again, click convert entities. And if I wanted to find the center point, I could use my center lines, but in this case, I don't need to. It's on the origin. Then I'm going to go up here to my circle tool. This works on the same notion that the rectangle tool goes. You click the center, then you go outwards a bit. So I'm going to click on the center and then click out here. I'm actually going to click this option right here for construction. That'll turn the circle, that'll turn the circle into a construction line. And then I need to dimension it. So it is a dimension of 12.5. I'll hit enter. And that is a known value. All right. So now I just need to make the squares. It's a little bit of a process, but I do have the height and the width of the squares, so they are 2.5 millimeter squares. That is good to know. So I'm actually going to go out here and make the square. And now you'll notice that we made the square, we've given it dimensions, but it's still blue. That's because it's undefined. It's in nowhere space. And I want it to be defined such that it's on the tangential line of the top of the circle. So what I have to do first is click out in the white space a little bit. Make sure that you're not selected on anything. If you are, it'll highlight a different blue. And this box will pop up over here. I am not. So we're going to go to add relation. And then you're going to want to click on the bottom of the square, not the center point, the line. And you want to click the circle. And you'll notice a bunch of these will change, but I want the relation that it is tangential. So I'm going to click on that. And you'll notice it brought our square down. I'm going to hit OK. And now this is tangential to that. You'll notice that one line is actually black now. So I'm going to add one more relation. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to make sure I click on the center point of the square. And then the center point of the circle. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that they're both in line vertically with one another. Do that. We click OK. And now our square is completely defined. It is tangential here. It is a certain distance away. Perfect. Now we just need to make 3 of them. Now we could go through the process of, make another square, make it tangential, and then define an angle, but that's the pain in the butt. We're actually going to make it a pattern. So we're going to go to linear. Up here, it says the linear sketch pattern. Go to the drop down, and we'll do circular sketch pattern. And then the parameters. These are all your definitions for your pattern. The first thing we're going to do is click on the circle. That's okay. And then I say click on the circle. Okay. Sometimes SolidWorks is SolidWorks and it doesn't like doing its job. But that's okay. So we'll go down to our entities to pattern first and click on the square. Alrighty, that's better. Much, much better. Pushing up the squares a little bit farther than we want. So this is the radii of the circle profile. So I'm going to do equals 12.5 divided by 2. And SolidWorks threw an error. That's okay. Sometimes it does not like to do what it likes to do. So this should be 6.25. There we go. That looks a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. That's okay. This might be defining it not entirely right. But for the purposes of the demonstration, this is fine. And the only thing else is I want 3 of them, not 4. So I'll take this box down a little bit. And we got 3 of them. It is fine that these are blue. They're just going to be kind of undefined, but they're there where we want them to be and the pattern is defined. So I'm going to go to my features tab now. And I'm going to not choose extrude boss base, but extruded cut, because if you take a notice, they are actually indented. You can see it right there. So extruded cut. And this is going to be a little bit weird. So first thing I'm going to do is set this to blind. Make sure it's at a 1 millimeter depth. And then I'm going to select the selected contours profile. and click on each of my squares. Only the squares. If I were to click the face, that would do the whole face. If I hit the check mark, now you'll notice I have an indent of 3 squares. All nice and dandy. Alrighty. Only 3 more features to go. So, I'm going to make the right conical cone. This one right here. So, that is made with by choosing our front plane and then going to sketch, sketch, and then we're actually going to make something on the side here. So what I'm going to do is go to center line, hover over the middle, click, and then go to the edge of my object here. And then hit escape. And now we have a point right here. Then I'm going to go to my line tool and just draw a triangle that has one of its edges on the edge of our cube here. Okay, so now we just need to dimension it. So it looks like it is 5 millimeters high and a diameter of 14. So I'm gonna dimension this side to be 5, dimension this side to be 7, and that's all we need for the sketch. It's fully defined. So let's go to features, and we're gonna do a revolved boss base. And if SolidWorks is smart enough, it should actually pull out what we need. However, if it did not, let me delete this. You choose your axis of revolution, which is this center line here. And then you can choose your contour, which is your selected shape in your sketch. I'm going to hit OK. And that's all that's needed for that. It's on the center, little pointy cone. All right, so then the next one is just a simple step. Looks like it's just a step out of 1 millimeter of a circle that is 15 millimeters. So we'll go here, click, hit sketch, sketch, and then grab our circle, hover over the center, click out, go to smart dimension, and we're going to make it 15 millimeters. Then click OK, go to our features, extruded boss base, and it should actually still be on 1 millimeter. But just in case, make sure it is, and hit OK. That one was a nice easy peasy. So next and last is we're gonna have the loft. So the loft depends on us creating 2 sketches and then connecting them together. So the first one is an easy one. I'm gonna click on this, go to this face, go to this sketch, sketch, click convert entities, and then immediately hit exit sketch. So now you can see the faint gray lines here. If I select the sketch, you can see the blue outline. So we have a rectangle that is the size of that face. Now I need to make another sketch that is out here. Now to do that, we'll go to features and go to reference geometry. This is the tab that will allow you to make extra planes, axes, points that you need if you need to reference something that's not on your part. So I'm going to choose plane, and I'm going to choose this face. And for this demonstration, we'll just use the default value of 10 millimeters. And we can leave all of this pretty much there. The green bar is showing that it's fully defined, which is a good thing. Sometimes you need to actually use 3 different faces to reference the plane if it's at a really weird angle. This is just parallel to the surface. So we're gonna hit OK, and you'll notice our plane is now selected. So with that selected, we'll go to Sketch, Sketch, and on the center one, we're gonna make a center rectangle. And then we're gonna create a couple dimensions. So it should be 15 long and 7 wide. Then we can hit OK and then exit sketch. And then click out here. Now, just because we don't want to be always viewing this plane, it does get a little annoying after a while. We can go to our feature tree, right click on it on the plane, and click on this little eyeball. That will hide it. That works for anything in this tree. So now that we have 2 sketches, I'm going to go to my Features tab and choose Lofted Boss Base. So now you'll see that we need to choose our profiles. So to do that, I'm going to actually go right here. So this pulls your feature tree out into here so you can see them all. I'm actually going to choose Sketch 8 and Sketch 9, or whatever they will be called for you. Those numbers do tend to change a lot. I wouldn't worry too much about the number sketch matching. And you'll see the 3D preview it's making is not quite what we want. It is actually turning at 90 degrees. And in our technical doc, it looks like it is not. So in order to fix that, we just need to move our reference points. So you'll notice there's a green point here, and these define which your references are. So you can actually click on it and drag it. You'll notice it'll snap to the next corner, and just like that. That looks about right. So we're gonna hit OK. And there we are. That is every side of the dice and on the everything cube. So if you are unsure of if it is any of the right dimensions according to your technical doc, you can go to this tab. It's called Evaluate. And you can go to Measure. And if you click on 2 different faces, say I clicked on this face and that face, it's going to give me a whole lot of info about it. So it's telling me the angle between those 2 faces is 153.43 degrees. It gives me a distance and also gives me an X and Y and a Z component of that distance. And a lot of useful information. You can use this on everything, circles, different patterns, just to verify your dimensions.